Hi, readers. It's Lori. It's Color Me Overwhelmed, Lori. And I'm here today to talk about my June TBR. And notice I did not say pile of possibilities because this is really a very centered, rigid TBR for a couple of reasons. It's maybe not completely that way, but okay, here's what happened. I was watching Tina at Tina Books, and she's also one of the podcast leaders from the podcast that I listen to. And she said in May she was going to have a TBR that she followed to the letter. She was just going to go down the list of books that she had, and she was going to absolutely read the books that were on her TBR list because she was like me, saying, I'm going to read these things, and then she would pick something else and not get to them. Okay. So she did pretty well. She made a rule for herself that she couldn't also DNF a book, but she did DNF one, I think maybe two. I was listening to this today while I was working, and I thought that's a really good idea because and this month is especially good for that idea because I have got to get some of these read for reasons that will become clear to you. So I really need to stick to a plan and I need to follow through and need to really be diligent about this because some of these are pretty big. Some of these are temporary loans. And one of these is maybe not going to get read, but I still want to read it this month, at least start it. I hope. This is really a lot. Look, I have given up on I need to read certain number of books every month. I don't need to do that. I'm way ahead of my goal for the year. And honestly, big book summer, I really want to savor these big books. So I'm happy with reading two big books a month or two and a small or whatever it ends up being. I'm really fine with that. I guess I'd probably even be fine with reading one book a month. I think I can make some of this work. I think I can make two of these work. That's going to be the first priority. So let's talk about the first priorities. The first one is this. I'm still reading it. I started it in May, the first day of Big Book Summer. I started the 23rd, I think, but I'm doing really well. I'm over halfway through, just over halfway through. I'm actually a little bit farther than this because I read it on my Kindle at lunch, but I'm loving this book. I'm committed to this book. And this is my first big book summer read, so I really want to complete it, and I want to complete it in this month of June. It's not going to be held over in any way. So I think I'm at about 455 pages, something like that. Yes, I am reading it physically as well as reading it on my Kindle, but I have not listened to it. I feel like this one needs to be consumed physically or digitally. So, if you've seen my channel or if you've probably, looked at anything by Stephen King, you know that this is a weird kind of time travel situation where someone goes back in time to try to change situations and circumstances so that JFK will not be assassinated. And it's fantastic. It's I'll tell you when I finish it what it is. It's just remarkable. Okay, so there's that one. Now, this is what snuck up on me. I don't know how because I am not a dumb person, but I just feel like I am. My nonfiction pick for the second quarter is a pretty big book. And I didn't think about the fact that in May that June is the last quarter of the month. So I have to read this in June. And this one is also over 500 pages. So it's a big book summer read, not terribly far over, but yes. Now there are pictures, there are scripts, there are quotes, interviews, all kinds of things. But this is going to take a commitment. This is going to take a lot. I'm hoping it'll be fast, as 11/22/63 has been. But if I were to read only two books in the month of June, these would be the two. These are the top priority, okay? I also, though, have this, which I just got renewed for 2 weeks and 2 weeks only. So I may or may not get to this physically. but I also have this available to me on audiobook, so I could pick it up in July or later in June or whatever. So there's ways in which I can do that. But I'm not even certain I'm going to like it yet, although I think I am. So this one is if I have the time and the space and it works out, I will read this, but I may not read it in June. Then this one is the book club selection that the patrons of Krista Books and Jams Patreon group selected to read in the month of June. And I voted for this one, and that's The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. I really want to read this. I really am interested in this, but this also will not take priority over those first two. It is also a big book. I think it's over 500 pages too. No, it's 472, but it would work as a big book summer read because big book summer reads have to be over 400 pages. I'm also adjusting because several people have said this is a mystery sort of thriller, but it's more literary fiction. So people are adjusting their expectations because a lot of people have said, I really thought this was going to be a pure thriller, edge of my seat kind of situation. And they're saying it really wasn't for them and that they aren't big fans of literary fiction. I am a big fan of that. So I feel like I'll be okay, but I am adjusting my feelings about it as a result. Now, again, this would be the third priority wise for me, even over this, because I would like to talk about it with my friends in that group because I adore them. So that would be a possibility, but might happen. Three big books could happen in the month of June. It would be tricky though. Then I also have, because I'm taking care of my grand dogs while my kids are away, and I am going to feed them in the mornings and play with them, and then back again in the evenings and play with them. And so I have a 30-minute to and from drive to my kids' house who live in that area. And so I was like, okay, what will I do during my 30-minute drive? And so I found an ebook, and I also found an audio copy of it. So I chose the audio, and this came from Tiffany at Beach Bum Bookworm. That's it. Tiffany talks about cozies, and I now and again like a little cozy. And so she was telling me about this book on her last video of new releases, but this is book one, not the new release in this series. And it just sounded like I would really like it. So I've started this. I started it today as I'm filming this. Doesn't matter to you what day it is, but I started today. I don't think it'll take me long. It will be kind of a palate cleanser in between this and maybe this, right? Depending on how long it takes me. But I found it on Hoopla, and this is The Body in 3B by Aaron Scott. Here's why this appealed to me. When Tiffany was talking about it, she said it reminded her of Only Murders in the Building, and I was like, "Oh, I'm in. I'm in." And then I looked and it was on my Hoopla, so I was so excited. Book one, Aaron Scott. This is a murder at the Morrissey mystery, this series. So she has several others as a result of this first one being fairly well received. This is about an apartment complex, much like Only Murders in the Building, where someone is found dead, and the people that live in the apartment complex are going to, I guess, get involved with the police and try to figure out what happened. I've already read 25% of it in my trip today and there and back, and I have to go again in a little bit. So probably maybe another 25%. I don't know. We'll see. So that would be great. That would be a quick one for me, but it's a nice little palate cleanser after the heaviness of 11/22/63. It's nice to just laugh. I laughed today in the car. I think it's campy, it's a cozy, it's silly sometimes, but I think it will be a book that I really enjoy. The main character is a girl who has some ghosty friends in the apartment complex, which is for some people too much, too over the top, but I think it'll be okay. It might get over the top, but I think it'll be all right. And then there's a guy that she has a kind of a crush on. His name is Lawrence, but they call him Laurie, which is weird for me to be listening to a book where they keep saying Laurie, but I'm getting used to it. But anyway, I think that one will get read in June just because I'm going through it pretty quickly already, and I have this whole week of trips back and forth to take care of my grand dogs and the chickens. I have to take care of the chickens too. Although the chickens are lower maintenance than the dogs, I would say, but they're all just pretty low maintenance. I mean, it's a pretty easy gig for me. So I'm excited about that. And then here's the third book club. I have another book club, but I didn't have to read the book this month because I'd already read it. So I'm going to go to book club, but I don't have to read that one. This one is my library book club, my Pride Without Prejudice book club. And this month is Pride Month. So they've chosen a book called We Are Everywhere, Protest, Power, and Pride in the History of Queer Liberation. This is by Matthew Reimer and Leighton Brown, or Leighton, but I think it's Leighton Brown. And he's holding a copy for me, my friend Richard there. I really want to read this. I don't think I'll get to this by June 17th because it is the beginning of this month, but I may or may not get to this. If I can find it on audio, that would help. I'll finish The Body in 3B and then I could maybe get onto that. But I still want to go to the book club because this is an important one. This is also, there's a guest, and I'd like to support the guest because she has a little establishment that I have been to a couple of times since it opened, and I would like to just support her and the work she's done for years at Just Us Lounge. And I just would like to be a part of the discussion, whether or not I've read the book or not. So my plan is to put that one in the stack. But again, the priorities we've discussed will be the priorities, because I can't stop reading this now because, yeah, I could ask for an extension from you guys on this, and I may still have to, but I'm going to at least start it and really see how far I can get through it and see if I can, get some good reading time. I do have at least one day off in June. Juneteenth is a day off for me. And, I have weekends and evenings, and I mean, I read a lot during, I read at lunch, I read in the morning if I have an audiobook. So, it'll all work out. It'll all be okay, right? I just don't need to be worried about this or feeling overwhelmed. I just need to embrace it and recognize that 2 books in a month are enough. 2.5 books in a month are enough. 1 book in a month is enough, right? Like I'm not worried about hitting I read 10 books this month, because that's never likely going to be me. I'm just not someone that has that level of time, and I don't read that quickly. But I would like to make this a meaningful month and do my best to, to stick to this TBR. If this works, I might want to do this again 1 month this year, just to kind of say, can you stick to a list and really follow it? Can you read these books that you said you would read in this month and not, see squirrel and get distracted and go off to something else? Can I do it? I think so. I hope so. I'm pretty committed to this situation, so we shall see. Let me know what you're reading in the month of June, and let me know how your TBR is set up. Is it one that's very strict and it's very follow the letter TBR, or is it one like me that you sort of deviate? I'll still deviate most of my life probably in many ways, but in this case, I think I'm pretty solid on this. But I'd love to hear your take on this. I'd love to hear if you've read any of these, what your feelings were. I have heard from several of you about 11/22/63 and some other friends of mine who've read it too. So it's been a really good experience thus far. But I really do think that both of these would also be a great experience. And I love these characters so much and these actors so much that I'm looking forward to learning more about this too. We rewatch these a lot, so it's like perfect for me to dive in. So I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to, make sure that the people in the apartment complex are all okay at the end of the day. Thank you so much for your comments, for your subscriptions. If you wouldn't mind liking this video, subscribing if you would, it does just definitely support me in, the work that I do, and it helps me to feel like I have a community and I care about all of you so very much. And I try to read and respond to all your comments. I am behind again because, I was away for a bit, but I'm going to get caught up. So don't worry about that. But thanks so much for being here. And if you'd like to participate more fully, feel free to do that. I'd love to have you. And as always, happy reading. Bye.